Hi everyone, we are going to work together today on our landform project. So in your yellow folder you have everything you need for this, plus you need your glue stick and your scissors. Okay, so this is an example of what your landform project might look like when you are finished. Yours might look a little different depending on which landforms you choose. So we're going to be cutting paper and creating this landform project. So you will need your page that looks like this, that has all the labels for different landforms. And you're going to be choosing 8 of these landforms that you want to make for your project to put on your paper. So we have an island, a canyon, a desert, a valley, bay, peninsula, lake, plain, coast. You can do a volcano, mountain, hill, plateau, ocean, river, waterfall, forest, or cave. So you're going to have in mind what you would like to do for your project. You need to choose at least 8, but you can do more if you would like. So the first thing we're going to need is our big blue, light blue piece of paper that hasn't been cut, construction paper. This is going to be your background. This is going to be what you are going to glue everything onto, okay? And we're going to glue things in layers, okay? So you're going to need this, plus you're going to need the colored paper. You can put aside the white and the red for now, because the white and the red are for snow and lava, which would be if you're choosing to have snow on your mountains or lava coming out of a volcano, those would be put on later as details. So right now we're just going to create the basic layers, okay? So you're going to look at your layers, and you might want to start out with the dark brown, which would be for the mountains. You don't have to start out this way, but that's the way I'm going to start out. So to create mountains, I'm going to cut one side of the paper to look like mountains. I'm going to leave the other side of the paper alone. So you're going to show it across like this so that it fits right on top of your blue paper. And you can draw an outline of a mountain here if you want, or you can just cut it. So I'm going to take this brown paper and I'm going to cut some outlines of some mountains, so we know that a bunch of mountains are called a mountain range. So I'm going to just cut some mountains so that it looks like there's a mountain range in the background of my paper. Then I'm going to put this on my blue paper and line it up with the sides and glue it on, okay? So once I like the way it is, I'm going to put some glue on. I'm going to put some glue on. I'm going to turn it over, put some glue on, put some glue on the paper that has the mountains, and then I'm going to turn it back over and I'm going to stick it to my blue paper up at the top, and I'm going to line up the sides so that it covers the whole blue piece of paper. Okay, and then I'm going to stick it there so that it looks like there's mountains in the background. Then I'm going to decide, well, what do I want for my next layer? Well, maybe for my next layer, I've decided I want to have forest. So I'm going to have this layer on top of the mountains. I'm going to cut just the top to look like evergreen trees in a forest. Okay, so that's kind of like I'm cutting triangles, lots of triangles to look like evergreen trees in a forest. just cutting the top, not the sides, not the bottom, just the top. Okay, this is going to be my forest. Just cutting out a lot of triangles along the top of this darker green paper. Okay, so then I'm going to lay my forest on top of my mountains like this and scoot it up so that there's no blue showing, and decide, okay, do I like that? Yeah, I like it where it is. So I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to put some glue on the back, and this will be my forest layer. Okay, so that's next. All right, so there we go. So there I have my forest layer. I'm going to try and line it up so there's no blue showing, and there's the forest. Now I think I will have some hills and a plain in the next part. So I'm going to just cut this light green paper so that it's just little tiny hills. So part of it can be hills and part of it can be the plain, which is kind of the flat green land. Okay, so then I have my hills, and I'm going to scoot it up so that there's no blue showing, and I'm going to put it on top of my forest layer. Okay, so when I like where it is, I'm going to turn it over, put some glue on it, and then stick it to the forest layer. Okay, and I'm going to try to do it so that there's no blue showing on the side. I'm going to do my best. All right, so far I have mountains, forests, hills, and plains. Okay, I think the next thing I want to do is maybe have some coastline. All right, so I'm going to use the light brown paper for the coastline, which would be sandy beach. Okay, so it wouldn't be just flat on the top, so I'm going to make it curve a little bit so that it's not just flat. I'm only cutting the top, not the sides or the bottom. Okay, this is going to be my coastline. Okay, and I'm going to put that on top of my hills. And when I like the where it is, I'm going to put some glue on it. And then I'm going to turn it over, put it on top of my hills. And there's my coastline. All right. Then with the coastline, at the bottom, on the bottom layer, I'm going to have the ocean. Okay, so I'm going to use this dark blue for the ocean, and I'm going to kind of cut the top to kind of look like waves on the ocean. So I'm cutting just the top, not the sides, not the bottom. Okay. All right. And then I have my ocean at the bottom. So far I have mountains, forest, hills and plains, coastline, and ocean. Okay, so I've covered my whole blue paper with layers, and now I'm going to have a chance to add some details and other landforms. All right, so I'm going to put this here at the bottom. And there we go. So it looks like there's waves coming up against the coastline. So I have lots of nice layers there. And now I'll have a chance to put in some more landforms, and put my labels and do even some coloring to put some details. So like I said, we have to have at least 8 landforms. So far I have mountains, forest. I can use part of this for plain, part for a hill. That's 4 so far. The coast, that's 5. And the ocean, that's 6. So I'm going to have to cut out some papers to add some other interesting landforms. All right, so let's look at my paper here. So I could add in one of these in between the mountains, this could be a valley if I want. I could make one of these mountains into a volcano if I want to. I could add a lake. So I could add a lake here if I want to. I could add a waterfall coming from the mountain and going down towards the ocean. I could add a cave if I wanted to, cut out a cave from my paper. I could add an island if I wanted to and put it here in the ocean. So there's lots of choices. Okay, so after you get done with your layers, you will add some details.